Hello and welcome to the News9 Plus show on the world's first news and current affairs OTT platform, News9 Plus. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a 3-day visit to France. Apart from co-chairing the crucial AI summit, he is also expected to sign big deals in the defense and nuclear energy sectors, including the one for 26 Rafale M fighter jets for the Indian Navy worth 7 billion euros or 700,000 crore rupees. In addition, there is the 3 Scorpene submarine deal worth 33,500 crore rupees, which will bolster India's underwater deterrence capabilities, collectively worth almost 1 lakh crore rupees. While the final Cabinet Committee on Security go-ahead is awaited, the defense and strategic ties between India and France have been on an upswing in the last few years. In contrast, and also competing to supply critical military assets to New Delhi is US, another close ally. Also, the country Prime Minister Modi will go to from France. Now, Washington is keen to push India towards American alternatives, including the advanced F-35 fighter jets. So, will India choose the US hardware? Remember that the US has imposed strict operational conditions and lacks a strong technology transfer agreement. Or choose France's offers of government-to-government deals with local production benefits. Is France the halfway house between India and the US, literally and figuratively, appropriate given that Modi goes on to meet Trump after Macron? Is France the backup for India in the West? It has always been one strong supporter of India and did not condemn India's 1998 Pokhran tests. And most importantly, is France the preferred non-US partner for buying fighter aircraft? We have only Russian and French fighter aircraft in the Indian Air Force, but no US fighters. Joining me on the News9 Plus show are Sandeep Unidan, live from Aero India 2025 being held in Bengaluru, Admiral Anil Kumar Chawla and Captain D.K. Sharma. Gentlemen, welcome to the News9 Plus show. Let me begin with you, Sandeep. Sandeep, put things into context for us from the Aero India, which is a showcase, as much as it is for civilian aircraft, as it is for military jets.
Absolutely, Krishna. Aero India, as we just discussed a while earlier, is the 15th edition of the Asian Aerospace Show that's held in Bengaluru every 2 years. It's the biggest installment, the 15th edition, the biggest so far. It's been held for nearly 3 decades now, and it's a meeting place for a lot of defense companies. There are literally hundreds of defense delegations over here. There's Indian industry, there's foreign industry, and most importantly, there are India's 2 strategic partners with their 5th generation fighter aircraft. The Russian Su-57 is here. It's blazing through the skies. It's conducting multiple sorties, wowing the crowds on the ground. And you have the US F-35, another 5th generation fighter aircraft, also on display. India's, one of the few countries in the world where you could see the United States and Russia displaying their latest cutting-edge fighter aircraft. That's, it's a measure of how deep the Indian relationship, how much they value India's relations with the United States and with the Russian Federation. But the dark horse in all of this, Krishna, is France. Now, France, as you correctly mentioned, is the halfway house between India and the United States. It is the preferred Western alternative to the United States.
Fair enough, Sandeep. We're just going to fix your audio and come back to you. Let me just take this across to Admiral Anil Kumar Chawla and Captain D.K. Sharma. Admiral Anil Kumar Chawla, is France the dark horse when it comes to competing to supply to India between Russia and America?
Well, I wouldn't call it a dark horse because, you see, it's been a defense partner for a very long time. And as you brought out, the Mirage deal with the Air Force happened close to 40 years ago. And there has been extensive defense cooperation since then, particularly with the Navy over the Scorpene deal, which started in 1999 and fructified in 2005. And the last submarine of the first batch of Scorpene submarines was commissioned just this year. by the Prime Minister at Mazagon Docks in Mumbai. So it's been a long-standing defense partner, not just in defense equipment, but also in surveillance, in satellite technologies, in many other equipment which are not so, widely known
Right.
as the Scorpion submarines and the Mirages, etc. And so I would say that France has been, along with the US, one of our earliest defense partners. We forget that after independence, we did get a lot of US hardware also, particularly with the Air Force, which then petered off because we didn't join the CETO and the other arrangements that the US had proposed. And then gradually we went towards the United States when we were not getting advanced weaponry in the 1960s. So France in itself has been a very significant defense partner and continues to be so. And I think it will continue to remain a very significant defense partner, particularly in the maritime side, because it has a huge maritime presence because of its territories in the Indian Ocean region. And we have extensive maritime cooperation with them.
Right, Captain DK Sharma, we have had cooperation with France for a very long time, but right now it's in the spotlight because of Prime Minister Modi's visit to France and the fact that he first goes to France and signs multiple deals, multiple defense and nuclear energy deals, and from there he heads to the US. So the question here is, he is going first to France. Is that a sign of the times to come?
Let's not read too many things into this visit, whether it is en route to US or first going to France and then to US, because as we all know, yes, these deals will happen willy-nilly, today, tomorrow, day after. They are on the cards and we need it. More than anything else, India needs it for its capability enhancement. So the three three Scorpions, or the follow-on Scorpions, or the modified, because these one are going to be bigger than the previous one which have been made by MDL, and the new ones are going to be with the AIP plug, which will be eventually developed by DRDO and will be integrated by Naval Group. Insofar as the Rafale Marine is concerned, of course, we need it. You know it. We commissioned the aircraft carrier 2 years back and still are operating with the MiG-29, which we got with Vikramaditya. So, but as I understand, right now, the deal is not been cleared by CCS. It will happen because as we are gathering, the information is that almost all hurdles and interministerial discussions have got over. And now when the Prime Minister comes back, it has to pass through the CCS. And of course, then will be the final negotiations on the price. So whatever we are reading, yes, it will happen, but it is not going to happen in this visit. So rest be assured. But yes, then he moves to US and we know it, all this Aero India and whatever is happening here, the big game is going to be played in US.
Okay.
That whether, and also the development of engine for AMCA as well as for the helicopter program of India, which is being steered by HAL. Safran is a very big player. So what happens to that? We will have to see that. So these are the 3-4 points, but let's see how they pan out. What deal gets struck in US with Trump, and then what follows on over here. So this is a big game of speculation right now. Let's see how it pans out.
It's a big game of speculation, Sandeep, but the fact of the matter is that it's a question of where will India buy its fighter aircraft from. Currently, we have only Russian and French fighter aircraft in the Indian Air Force and no US fighter jets, whereas Washington is pushing India to buy the F-35s.
Absolutely, Krishna. And India would be very reluctant to buy an American fighter aircraft for various reasons. The fact is that American aircraft come with strings attached. There is an issue of the possibility of sanctions. We've seen it in the past. Admiral Chawla, Captain Sharma, they've been through that. They've seen the process when India was under sanctions after the Pokhran tests of 1998. And this was a litmus test for India's partnerships with foreign countries, where France was one of the first countries that did not oppose our tests. In fact, they understood the reasons why we conducted the test, and the relationship has been extremely strong ever since. The fact is that France today is poised to reap the benefits of that strategic relationship. Not only do they get the 26 Rafale fighter jets for the Indian Navy, which is a navalized version of the Air Force variant of the Rafale fighter jets, but it's also in the fray for a possible repeat order of 114 medium multi-role fighter aircraft for the Indian Air Force. That is a very, very big contract indeed. And that's in fact one of the most lucrative defense contracts in the world right now. It's worth tens of billions of dollars. And I'm sure Donald Trump would like to have this deal for the American military industrial complex. So I completely understand the reason why India would want to downplay a deal of this size with France at this very moment. It's worth the 26 Rafale fighter jets for the Indian Navy. This is not something you would want to publicize just before you landed in the United States with Donald Trump waiting for defense deals for the United States. He very clearly mentioned that in his conversation with Prime Minister Modi that he would like to see India buy defense hardware. So it's very obvious, Krishna, from this that India would want to downplay the French defense deals. They're very substantial. But they, at the same time, I must tell you that these have been in the pipeline for a very long time. These have not happened overnight. They've been talked about for at least 10 years now. The 3 Scorpions are going to be a continuation of the 6 Scorpions that we have. The 26 fighter jets, as Captain Sharma mentioned, are critically needed for the Indian aircraft carriers, the 2 aircraft carriers that we have. And they will be delivered several years from now. So you're actually planning ahead. You're planning for the retirement of the MiG-29K fighter aircraft from the Indian Navy, Krishna.
Right. Admiral Chawla, France is making it easy for India to purchase its hardware, isn't it? Government-to-government deals, local production benefits, whereas the US has strict operational conditions and, more importantly, doesn't have a strong technology transfer agreement.
Yeah, I mean, those factors are there, but you must remember that we have the P-8I aircraft, in the Navy. They've been very successful. They've replaced the maritime reconnaissance aircraft that we used to have from the erstwhile Soviet Union, the Il-38s and the TUs. And they have played a very significant role in guarding our seas because of their capabilities, multifaceted capabilities. Indeed, they are the frontline aircraft of the Indian Navy today. Secondly, also, we are getting the unmanned aircraft from them. That contract has just been signed. That's another multi-billion-dollar contract. We've had these Sea Guardians on lease from the United States for almost 4 years now. The Navy was the pioneer in getting them on lease, and now the government has approved a case for all the 3 services to buy these aircraft. So there is a significant component of aviation coming in from the United States as well. And yes, the restrictions on usage, etc., are something that we need to go in with the eyes wide open. But I think with the P-8Is, it's been a positive experience. So let's see what happens in the future. The decisions of this nature, as brought out by Sandeep, involving multiple billions of dollars, have strategic implications for relations between the countries, for each other's military-industrial complex, for the relations with other powers in the region. And therefore, these decisions are taken for a multitude of reasons. And they take a long time, as has been earlier brought out. They take a long time. So I'm sure discussions with the US will bring about, hopefully, some more agreement on some critical equipment that we need. But already we have a significant component, both in the Indian Air Force, the C-17s, Globemasters, the Hercules aircraft, number of munitions also that have come in. So I think it is not that gloomy a picture as it was earlier during the sanctions time.
Okay, the picture is not gloomy, but Captain D.K. Sharma, the question here is, how is the picture changing and evolving? Does France then become India's backup partner in the West significantly?
Look, Krishna, what Admiral is saying is absolutely right. And I will just add a few more things. You see, we have got C-17s, we have got C-130J, we have got P-8Is, we have got MQ-9B, we have got Apaches, Chinooks, you name it. And today I was reading, and just now somebody broke the news from Aero India that the MRO of C-130J is going to be built in Bangalore for global repairs and maintenance of the C-130J. So these are the things, and also Boeing is also looking for setting up some plant over here, but because of the lack of orders from India, so that is probably a work in progress. But we have a big inventory from the US with us. Of course, But we are looking at the bigger problem right now is engines for AMCA, the fifth generation aircraft. We are looking for the engines for our helicopter program. We are looking desperately for the carrier-based fighter aircraft. We are looking for the submarines because this line is now lying
Right.
absolutely unused in MDL. So let's see how it happens. But the balance, as Admiral was saying, is being maintained. And
Okay.
that is why probably no announcement has been done before the Prime Minister left for France and thereafter to the US.
Okay.
So I think they have balanced out everything and the geostrategic compulsions as well as our requirements insofar as capability and capacity is concerned.
All right, we will leave it at that. Admiral Anil Kumar Chawla and Captain D.K. Sharma, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on the News 9 Plus show. As Prime Minister Modi and other global leaders discuss the growing challenges and opportunities for AI in governance at the Action Summit in Paris, India has outlined the plan to drive, support and push AI across industries. In a just released document, the government has highlighted how, with the right skills, the right mindset and the right opportunities, Indian professionals are driving AI advancements across industries from healthcare to finance, from education to e-commerce. And while India ranks first in global AI skill penetration, the future of AI will be written by those who can develop, deploy and scale up AI solutions. Now, the Digital India mission has laid the groundwork for AI-driven solutions across industries. So, has the Indian government taken significant steps to accelerate AI innovation and adoption in the country? Joining me to discuss that are Somraj Bhattacharjee, marketing strategy and AI expert, and from Bengaluru is my colleague and editor, International TV9 Network, Mr. Sridharan. Thank you so much for joining us here on the show. Let's begin, Shri, by putting things into context. We are officially in the race, in the AI race at the at the outset, whether we like it or not, whether we are ahead or not. But the fact of the matter is that there seems to be some clear thought put in from the government's end as far as artificial intelligence and developing its ecosystem in the country is concerned.
Absolutely, Krishna, because if you look at the India AI mission, which the government launched last year, I think the vision for India's roadmap to AI supremacy is very clear. We are going to build across the entire AI stack, which includes from the hardware to our foundation models, to our cloud computing capabilities, to ultimately applications, because that's what really is going to make the difference from a user end perspective. So it's very evident that India needs AI capabilities, but it needs AI that's going to work for Indians, right? Ultimately, having a shiny new technology is no help if it doesn't help Indian people, for example, the farmers, for example, our health industry, or there are so many different segments which will benefit from having AI. As the Prime Minister said in his speech, I think he summed it up very beautifully. He said, India will do AI that's good and AI for all. So those are the two key parameters which are going to drive India's AI strategy. And having said that, Krishna, I think we should not take the fact that you mentioned about India having AI skill penetration the highest in the world. I don't think we should take it, we should be complacent about this. We need the government to participate proactively with the industry. We need the government to create an enabling environment. The government cannot create the AI on its own, right? It needs innovators, it needs private enterprises, it needs researchers, it needs great talent to come from not just India, from outside of India also to come and build AI. So I think this extraordinary collaboration between the government and industry and private enterprise is required for India to fulfill its AI destiny. So I think that's essentially what this India AI mission is all about. It recognizes that Indian government per se cannot build AI the way it needs to be built. It can only be a facilitator. It can provide public, infrastructure, which entrepreneurs, which creative geniuses can use, so that it doesn't become a barrier in terms of creating new AI technologies. And I think there are two very important things that's going for India, Krishna. One is we have demonstrated to the world already that we can build excellent technology. Our digital public infrastructure is a case study now around the world. So that's number one. And second, very importantly, Well, DeepSeek is the chatter of the world in the AI world. But India has a long established DNA of developing frugal technology, whether it is in space or it's in rocket or even in defense. So I think we have all the ingredients. We need a consistent, a sustained push for India to build its AI, supremacy going ahead, Krishna.
Right, we need a consistent push. Let me bring in Somraj Bhattacharya at the stage. Somraj, talk to us. AI-specific PLI schemes, production link incentive schemes, are incentivizing semiconductor and AI chip manufacturing. What else do you think needs to be done?
See, PLI schemes in semiconductor, the industry has been there for a long time. What we also need to integrate are silicon manufacturing. Silicon manufacturing and chip manufacturing should go hand in hand. We still are lacking behind when it comes to rare earth metals. But if we can really resource them from foreign partners, we stand significantly poised to manufacture a huge amount of silicon chips in India and use them for AI production, number one. Number two, as the other panelists said, we need to really focus on the AI future in the NEP, the National Education Plan. We need to integrate AI courses in all types of schools, colleges, and training level institutions where AI courses are taught, delivered, and institutionalized into the learner's curriculum. Number three, we need to have a huge push. I think the government is already doing that in automation in the manufacturing industry, again, where AI is significantly used. If we can do that, considering that we are already focusing a lot on Make in India, the automation of the manufacturing industry is going to significantly push ahead the AI integration in the manufacturing industry. And number four, healthcare and edtech. These two setups are going to be huge. They are going to drive the global south and the developing world when it comes to AI integration. So we stand pivotal in being placed as the fulcrum leaders in pushing ahead AI in edtech and health tech. If we can push it further, and if we can really encourage overseas talent who were Indian but are now settled in India to come back to our country and do more research in this domain, I feel this is going to be the next 10 years are going to see immense potential and expansion of AI in India.
Okay, huge potential. Shri, one of the reasons for that big potential and why they say AI's future lies in India is its people, the demographic dividend that we are enjoying at this stage. Talk to us. It's not just enough if you have the right people in the right age group. It's also important that they are upskilled, people who can take up all the opportunities that AI provides.
That's true, Krishna. I think just having people is not enough. I think giving them the environment and the skills they need to be able to do innovation, we need the DNA of original research to innovate. That is required. The most transformative, the most fundamental breakthrough in generative AI actually came from an Indian. The paper that he wrote, which is "Attention is all you need." But unfortunately, he was not working in India. He was working for Google's DeepMind, right? So I think we need such talent to remain in India. And I'm sure there are people within India who can do this, but we should not be shy of getting, like our co-panelists said, of getting the best talent back into India, whether it is Indian talent or even it's American talent, Russian talent, I don't care, or Chinese talent as well. Get them to India, because this is a race which we have to win. There's absolutely no option. So we have to throw our might behind this as a country and make sure that, as the Prime Minister said, we are able to develop open AI systems with the intention of doing good for everyone and for the poorest of the poor people to the biggest enterprise. So that should be objective as far as AI is concerned, and skilling people and providing them the enabling environment will be absolutely crucial in deciding whether we win this race or we lose this race.
Well, people are going to be important, but what's also going to be important is the partnership between, the government and the private sector. Somraj, the government is fostering public-private AI research collaborations. Talk to us. That is going to be another crucial factor that will drive, India in terms of how soon it can get ahead in this race.
Absolutely, and not only PPPs, we should also look at PPAs, where you have cooperative associations coming in. A lot of third-party NGOs and a lot of freeholding bodies are also doing a lot of research in AI, right? We should encourage them to come here, set up labs. India is filled with talent. Look at down south. I mean, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, Pune. They should set up labs over here, and the government should heavily incentivize them by giving them tax benefits to outsource their labs in India. If technology research happens in India, and if research of top quality, A-level quality research comes out of India, you will automatically see the ecosystem of AI hardware coming up around it. We should go from the software to the hardware route rather than the hardware to the software route. That's one point. And second point, we should heavily incentivize the rural sector in India to do a lot of implementation of AI. They cannot do research, but they can absolutely implement AI in their day-to-day activities and the farmers, the farming industry, the agriculture industry. They can really use AI significantly, and they become test cases, use cases where applications of AI in new domains can be researched, and you never know, the next deep seek may come out of India. And I don't see any challenges in that at all, except for maybe just the implementation. But the government is doing that significantly. What is needed is the push by the people, by the knowledge base. So I think we are well set for that.
Okay, you're talking about DeepSeek. Let's get to that, Shri. India's AI adoption rate is the highest globally, and that's according to Emeritus Global Workplace Skills Study 2025. Highest globally in terms of AI adoption. Talk to us, how can India leverage that and take on the likes of DeepSeek and DeepMind?
Right. So, Krishna, the adoption we are seeing is really, it's the tip of the iceberg. Because, see, don't forget that we still don't have foundation models in Indic languages, or which are like actually trained on our data set. Because that is the hardest part of building any foundation model. Access to, high quality data and in enormous quantities. So imagine what will happen in this country if we are able to build foundation models which are suited to our context, which are built on our data sets. I think the transformation will be phenomenal. Our co-panelists already talked about agriculture, but there are sector after sector that can be totally disrupted. I mean, education. Most of our kids still learn in their local languages, right? English is largely an urban phenomenon. Now take education. I mean, we could transform the way we teach children maths and science and all of the subjects. I mean, AI, when we only think of like kids using it to copy or cheat on exams or come up with essays that they didn't write. But that's just a very small part of, generative AI. The promise of AI really lies in how do you improve the quality of education and help equip them with tools which are built on AI, models. And allows them in their local language to discover and learn in an interactive fashion. So similarly in healthcare, there is so much that, which is very unique to our Indian, gene type. There are diseases that are very specific to us. If we can leverage our data sets that are relevant to our people, our agriculture, I think the transformation will be, we can't even imagine how it's going to be transformed. So I think that's why I say it's just the tip of the iceberg, what we're seeing today. Even for AI, it's early days. If we are able to build foundation models which are based on our data sets, which are authentic, high quality, and we also able to build small language models which are targeted to specific sectors, for example, agriculture, for example, healthcare or education. I think the ability that we have as a country to leverage AI will be like mind-blowing, Krishna.
Right, so AI is not just about generative AI, isn't it, Somraj? So much of talk about AI is always about generative AI. Everybody talks about ChatGPT, and from ChatGPT, the next big sensation is DeepSeek. But there are so many ways in which, AI innovation can be done that has nothing to do with generative AI and yet transformative as far as India is concerned.
Yes, everybody knows about generative AI, but we are also doing a lot of research, and the world is doing a lot of research in explainable AI that can be reverse coded, right? So we don't talk about that. There is huge potential. It's only being done in the US. Why not take the lead in that? That's point number one. Point number two, why not do a lot of research in training data? We have the largest population in the world. AI is trained on reverse and repeated iterations. Right now, iterations and the training data happens, the training of AI systems happen mostly in the US. Why not take the lead in that? Why not ask agencies to come here and outsource their data to us so that we can use our population base to train data? Like you and I, every time we go onto a website, we click on those tiles and buttons to log in and to confirm that we are humans, we are not robots. That is a form of training AI, large language models. So not only do we need to work on generative AI. We should look at the explainable AI. Explainable AI and AI in mathematical modeling is still very nascent. People do research in that, but they follow set patterns, iterations that are known. We can do a lot of research in that, and that can give us a base from which we can really leverage in the coming years. I see the next 5 years, India becoming the top one of, it is already among the top five. India clearly going to the top three of AI interventions and AI creations in the top next 5 years' time. And 10 years down the line, I see India fighting, competing, collaborating with the best in the world. China, maybe it's doing well now, but I think India is going to be there with the US in the next 10 to 15 years' time.
Shri, would you concur with that? China might be ahead right now, ahead of everybody, ahead of even the US, but the future is for the taking for India.
Absolutely, Krishna. I think if we put our might behind it, if the government is determined, I don't think there's any force on earth that can stop our rise as a AI superpower. I'm very convinced about it. I think what we need is a sustained strategy. We need to get bureaucracy out of the way. We need to let innovators flourish. We need to give them enough money. We need to give them enough public infrastructure. We need to create the enabling environment and just get out of the way as a government, and you'll see the things happen. If one person in China sitting and working with young graduates hired fresh out of college can come with a deep seek, I don't see why India can't do much better. Given our brain power literally is like powering AI and all the computer revolution around the world. So there is no dearth of talent. What we lack really is a sustained approach, an enabling environment, making it easy for companies to innovate, for researchers to innovate, to give them money so they can do their job without stressing about anything else. I think that's what we need. And that's where the government comes in, really, Krishna. It has to put that money in, make an enabling environment, and get the best resources together to build this India's AI roadmap.
Right, building India's roadmap, Somraj. So things are not as dire as OpenAI CEO Sam Altman once said, and India is nowhere in the picture when it comes to AI, isn't it? He himself has recalibrated that statement and said that it was taken out of context.
And recently he said that India is doing something right and it need not change its strategy. Recently he came up with that statement. So what we can really look at is, as my co-panelist said, we should incentivize AI research. So maybe I'm just putting it out, right? Have a national AI award or an AI research fund or something like that. If we can, because in India, if we can focus a lot on IT, we can do that in AI as well. And trust you me, we are doing something right, which the others have still not started. That is, we are working on the mathematics part of AI. We have a lot of research happening in the IITs, but they are mostly at the back end. They don't come ahead and create companies. We should encourage companies to be created. The government already is working on it, but heavily incentivize, maybe have the big wigs of the corporate industry promote and iterate companies that are AI startups. Heavily incentivize them, make them tax-free. Do it for 5 years. Maybe it will be heavy on the government's coffers, but 5 to 10 years down the line, if you do this consistently, as my co-panelist said, you're going to see at least 20 to 25 companies that are doing pure AI research from India alone. And once you start doing that, and once the world starts using AI tech from India, the world is at our feet. I mean, I don't see any roadblocks in that.
Okay, the world will be at our feet. We leave it at that. Somraj Bhattacharjee, marketing strategy and AI expert. Thank you so much for being with us. And of course, my colleague and editor international of TV9 Network, Sridharan, for being with us on the News 9 Plus show.